On show 495, Tesla's new Superchargers are open, an Audi and Jaguar recall, and a massive battery. Those stories and many more coming up on the show for Monday the 10th of June. I know what you're thinking. You've missed a couple of days. I'm sorry, let me explain. Good morning, good afternoon or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the show. EV News Daily with Martyn Lee is meant to be EV News Daily, right? However, very rarely, I take the odd day off, and it's simply because Fully Charged Live over the weekend was brilliant and it was hectic. It was inspiring and shattering. So there was a show that went out on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday was all about interviewing. I got a ton of interviews. I think I've got the next 6 Saturday specials. There's so many brilliant shows. I can't wait to sit down and make. They're going to take a little while to make, if I'm honest with you, because bit of editing needed, bit of production needed, but got some brilliant shows coming up over the next probably month and a half, maybe 2 months as well. Some fascinating long-form interviews, 15, 25 minutes. I think you're going to love them. Got home super late Saturday night. Yesterday was a write-off. I was just absolutely shattered and, just sorting out life admin. So, back in on a brand new week today on Monday. I'm sorry about missing it. Normally on a Sunday, this has been the biggest bother for me. Normally on a Sunday, we read out your answers to question of the week. And I spend all day Saturday, not all day, but a lot of Saturday, compiling question of the week to put together. Saturday, of course, was Fully Charged Live. A 3-4 hour journey home. It's probably 4.5 hours maybe with charging. Journey home. Got home really late Saturday, and then yesterday just didn't get round to it. So this is kind of weird. Question of the week will be answered on the Tuesday show. It should be tomorrow. I need to sit down and go through your emails and put together question of the week. Look, that's enough waffle. Let's get on with the news. And we'll start with some great news if you own a Model 3 and you live somewhere in California, because Tesla's supercharging network just got a lot better, with the first public supercharging station now open of V3 superchargers. It's open at the Fremont, California factory, and it can charge a Model 3 up to 250 kilowatt speed. I should point out, by the way, it's not going to go to 250 if you turn up there with a battery 3/4 full. It's not going to stay at 250 until it's 3/4 full. This is if you turn up and the battery is nicely conditioned. Maybe you've used the nav to get to the Supercharger V3. It's at a low state of charge. I don't know. I'm guessing between 5 and 15%. And then you're going to get some crazy fast speeds on Supercharger V3s. Until now, it's been somewhat of a beta test program where they get themselves some data. However, now open to the public, and at the Fremont, California factory, those superchargers are now open. And that, of course, gives you the infamous 1,000 miles an hour charge speed. Wonderful if you're a Tesla owner. Wonderful if you're a Model 3 owner. Wonderful if you live in California. I am none of those, and the weather today in the UK is pretty much the opposite to being Californian. We had a month's worth of rainfall in one day today. That was fun. Welcome to a British summertime, when you get a month's worth of rain in an afternoon. It was biblical today. Awful weather. Yeah, about as far as Californian as you can get. Hey, let's move on to the next story. This gives me no pleasure in reading out this story. But there is, I get a sense that I should read these stories out, because if you, like me, interested in EVs, maybe for a little while, hello if you're new, by the way, and if you are new to the podcast, thank you so much. If you're new to EVs, thank you for spending time with me. And if you've been following EVs a long time, you know that Tesla have been doing this a very long time, and we've been waiting for the others to catch up. But along the way, we've had to put up with so much crud from the Tesla haters who go, well, you just wait. You just wait until the likes of Audi and Jaguar start making EVs, and then they'll show Tesla how it'll be done. Oh, yes. And it's like, I'm not pro-Tesla or anti-Tesla, but it gets tiresome. It gets tiresome when everyone tries to pit cars against each other, and especially those that want to see Tesla fail, those shorts, the fudsters that really don't want to see Tesla succeed, and they, for years, have been saying, you just wait. And when they come, they'll show Tesla that's how to make a car. All right, let me give you some news today. This is coming via the car site Jalopnik. The Audi e-tron didn't get off to a great start. the range isn't the best. For having a big old battery, it's a thirsty little thing. But let me give you this Bloomberg story reported by Jalopnik. Audi issued a recall of approximately 450 e-tron SUV models sold in the USA because of a risk that moisture can seep into the battery cell through a wiring harness glitch. The company isn't aware of any fires or injuries because of the flaw. It affects a total of 1,644 models. Reuters report Audi said that there have been 5 instances globally where the battery fault light turned on because of this moisture issue. It began contacting e-tron owners in the US last week prior to a warning from federal safety regulators, and they should have the cars repaired by August. A company statement said this, and I quote, "We're applying an abundance of caution as no such incidents have been reported globally." End quote. Audi went on to claim that it had 5 instances of a battery fault light turning on, but that it put out the recall before any regulators got at them. A reminder: the car was late to go into production. The cars had software issues and disappointing range. Audi contacted Jalopnik with a full text of the statement, and I will put a full link to that in the show notes in the interests of sharing all of the information from the car maker. Clearly, this isn't malicious, and clearly everyone's doing their best. I'm just reporting the news here, and I'm sure Audi and VW Group would want their say and to make sure that everyone's clear on the issue, so that's why I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you. Well, if that wasn't bad enough, let's talk about another car. We've already heard about the Audi issues, but what about the Jaguar I-Pace? Well, the Jaguar I-Pace has been hit with a recall over the regen braking system. According to investigators, the I-Pace regen brakes could exhibit increased delay between the point when a driver hits the brakes and when the car starts slowing down. Probably not what you want. This is according to a Teslarati article which was written, and it says this Jaguar is recalling all of the I-Pace models it has delivered so far, such as the 3,083 units that it sold in the USA. Not a great start for Jaguar with that recall. If you own either of those, I'm sure that perhaps the manufacturers will be in contact with you. And this isn't, by the way, some sort of Tesla fanboy rant, because Tesla themselves have recalled things like 123,000 Model S's built before April 2016 because of excessive corrosion in the power steering bolts, which were supplied by Bosch. Could make the steering heavier. No loss of safety, but just make the steering heavier. So look, everyone's gone through ups and downs. I'll simply give you that story because for years we've had to sit on the sidelines and listen to the keyboard warriors tell us all, you just wait. Well, we waited, and there you go. Right, let's move on to some car sales stats. The Inside EV's sales scorecard, which is, I love a number. I love a spreadsheet. I love a graph. Well, 77% of the electric car sales in the US last month in May went to, you guessed it, they went to Tesla. 16,350 cars estimated to be sold. This is an Inside EV's estimation. In my experience, I've never really held them to account, and, if they've been off by a little bit here, a little bit there, because Tesla don't provide monthly numbers. I find Inside EV's estimates to be very, very good. This is just an estimate, though. It's 82% more than a year earlier. 16,350 is their monthly estimate. Again, no official confirmation on that. It would say that there's no sign of a demand problem with Tesla. As you can see with particular models, though, the S and the X are experiencing a decrease. We've talked about it before. Down, again, the monthly estimates. X down 5%, S down 33%, as rumours continue to swirl that say by the end of the year there'll be a new S and a new X, or at least a redesign on the outside by the end of the year. And these rumours, by the way, are really unhelpful. They're put out by people that want to see the company succeed, and, well, they're just rumours, and they don't help because people might stop purchasing a car that they could have been driving for a year and having fun and putting smiles on their face. It's a great channel, but Kim from Like Tesla, also Ryan from Ride the Lightning reported this as well. But those are like Tesla fan channels, and if you are really a fan of the brand, then you sort of wouldn't be spreading what at the minute is massively unconfirmed rumours, and of course it does put people off. I'm not being critical, but this kind of fear and uncertainty and doubt that the Tesla shorts put out there into the world. Well, how do you know that these rumours aren't put out into the world because people want to spread uncertainty, and certain S and X buyers going, well, I won't buy a car because there's meant to be some sort of redesign coming. They say that they've got impeccable sources, but anyway, let's move on. You know what? Batteries are going to play a massively important part in our energy future, and a UK energy provider, Scottish Power, is building a huge battery. But why are they doing it? Well, they're doing it to boost the efficiency of wind turbines. Clean energy is all well and good, says techspot.com today. It's much less efficient form of power when you haven't got any infrastructure to store it. That's where Scotland's latest plans come in, they say. Scottish Power is taking on the most ambitious battery power project in Europe, an industrial scale battery. Half the size of a football field, and we're in Europe, so what we say football is what you might say soccer, but, it's called football, so deal with it. And it could provide the UK as a whole with very consistent green energy, and of course on-demand green energy. Scotland, by the way, is leading on renewables. The rest of the UK is doing okay as well, by the way, but Scotland is fantastic. And so from these 215 wind turbines that are going to be attached to this giant grid-scale battery, it means that more power can be stored and delivered when the wind ain't blowing. If you want to read more, I'll pop a link in the show notes. Volvo's Polestar division is making progress bringing its Polestar One car, the plug-in hybrid, to market. A reminder, by the way, Polestar One, not many are going to be made, super expensive, got a big engine. Yes, it'll plug in, do almost 100 miles on battery power alone. The Polestar One has entered the tooling tryout stage at its Chinese assembly plant. The prototype series includes around 50 vehicles so far, dual electric motors, so 2 electric motors on the rear wheels, and the big old gas lump under the bonnet at the front. On the front, when the front wheels being driven by the gas engine, 600 brake horsepower. Initial reservation holders have begun confirming their final vehicle spec, but I don't think it's a car that you and I are particularly going to be able to afford. Obviously, once that's all done, it was their kind of chance to, I say, have a play. I'm sure they're taking it more seriously than that, but file off a few rough edges before the Polestar 2 is coming. That is full electric, and that looks like a Model 3 Challenger. How are you going to be buying your next car? Well, could it be a lease? I always say on this podcast, by the way, long-time listeners hear me say, leasing is not the cheapest way to buy a car, because I receive email. When I say that, I get people going, yes, I've looked at the lease price. It's only this much per month. It's really cheap. And by the way, there's a £4,000 deposit you have to put in the beginning. So if you look at a lease deal, add the deposit at the beginning, add any excess mileage, work out all your monthly payments, divide by how many months, and work out if it's good or not for you. It's not right for everybody, but I often get people go, yeah, leasing's the cheapest way. Well, look, if leasing was a bargain, leasing companies would go out of business very quickly, but they seem to be making a nice profit. How do companies make a profit? From their customers. So, it's not the cheapest way to own a car, but it might suit you. Maybe you're a business and leasing works out for you because of depreciation, but don't email me to say, look, the cheapest way to get a car is to get a lease. Tesla's Model 3 is doing okay for the lease, at least here in the UK. According to the leasing.com league tables, the Tesla Model 3 has jumped to the very top of the leasing table, and it's the most popular lease car in the UK in May. Not that any have been delivered yet, but people are taking out lease deals. It's following on the Audi e-tron, Jaguar I-Pace as well. Interest in the Model 3, of course, has been huge at the moment, and some of the monthly prices for the Model 3 start at, they say, £400 a month. Yeah. What's the deposit you have to put down on that? And I do this whole bit with a tongue slightly in cheek, because I get it. I know that the EVs are moving on technologically very quickly, and some people don't want to own a car as well. They want a high-tech product on their driveway for 2 or 3 years, because imagine what EVs are going to be like in 3 years' time. And they go, you know what, I'm going to write off that cost and then get the next one. So I get it. I'm just winding up the people that email me with very long, complex reasons why leasing is cheap. It's not. Let's talk about the Model 3, though, and it's outselling the likes of the Mercedes C-Class, the A4, the BMW 3 Series when it comes to the leasing.com league tables. A good sign there is plenty of demand for EVs. Surprise, surprise. A company makes enough of them, and we want to buy them. Are you listening, Hyundai and Kia and all the others? Mazda are a name we will add to that list as well. Mazda Zv is planned for 2020. According to Yahoo News, they have got a brand new EV coming next year and a plug-in hybrid in 2022, possibly if they pull their finger out by the end of 2021. The Japanese car makers' electrification push is, like all the other car makers, as a direct result of the European Union setting a target, 95 grams of CO2 per kilometre for the fleet. So, if you want to sell a big, stinky SUV, mummy wagon to do the school run 5 minutes down the road so that little Jimmy doesn't get his hair wet, then you also need to sell an EV to balance it. So the fleet, if you haven't heard me explain this before, then your average must be 95 grams per kilometre of CO2. Not easy to get to if you're not making EVs. In fact, Toyota, who make, funnily enough, a range of cars that don't have plugs, are one of the ones that are closest to actually hitting the target. Mazda say that their fleet emissions on average 135.2 at the moment, so a long way to go. If they want to avoid paying heavy fines, they could pool with another car maker, like Fiat Chrysler are pooling with Tesla and paying Tesla maybe even to the billions to get those credits. Mazda say they're going to be making an EV, though, to help combat that next year. In 2020, an EV is coming from them, and it's going to be a mid-sized car that should be affordable. Fantastic. And a plug-in hybrid coming shortly after. And if you were looking for something to watch online, then I can highly recommend the Fully Charged video where they go to EV West, the converted BMW M3. That's one of the videos that is doing the rounds at the moment, and it's been out a couple of weeks, but it's one of the most popular they've done recently, and it's well worth watching. An E36 BMW M3 given the EV hot rod treatment, says BMW blog. EV West are the California-based electric tuning company headed by Michael Bream. What he did was take the BMW M3, strip it out, put a roll cage in, an 800 horsepower powertrain from a wrecked Tesla, and put it into it and used it on Pikes Peak. Now, if you want to see the video, check out the Fully Charged channel, and that's where we'll leave the news today because we're cracking up. There'll be more news tomorrow. There'll be more audio from Fully Charged, and thank you to new patrons who joined over the weekend. I'll read your names out and give you a big thank you on tomorrow's podcast. And of course, we'll get to Question of the Week as well. I feel like behind by a couple of days. Just want to say, by the way, that after a fabulous weekend, I do have a bit of Fully Charged live come down now, and I can't wait for the next big live EV event, whatever and wherever that may be. But a big congratulations to Robert Llewellyn and the team that he's built around him, and from making some YouTube videos all those years ago to building a company and having staff that, you know, has a proper, has an MD and producers and a commercial team. It's just amazing. And I do think that over the next couple of years, if the Fully Charged organisation, you know, as a proper profitable big business, manages to navigate what must be incredibly complicated to go from a small content creator to this kind of big EV kind of sustainable energy juggernaut, I think they can do an amazing advocacy job around the world that needs to be done. Someone called Jamie Oliver, if you know him, many years ago, was really outraged at the quality of school dinners here in the UK and took that fight to the government and actually made some really big changes that affected the health of our children and the food that they were getting fed in schools. And I kind of get the feeling that Fully Charged, when I was there over the weekend, seeing the live event and thinking, I can see this on a course where they become more than a YouTube channel making great, really funny, informative, educational videos, but a real force for good in many ways around the world. Many congratulations to everybody at Fully Charged. I'm sure you share my congratulations if you came to that event. Right, you've got one more day to enter Question of the Week if you want to. It's Question of the 9 days. Should EVs still qualify for special treatment and incentives, like financial incentives or convenience? Be quick, I'll read them out tomorrow. You can email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. There are now 217 patrons of the show. I got some names to read out tomorrow, and I can't wait. Thank you very much for supporting this podcast. If you want to see what it's all about, patreon.com/evnewsdaily. 494 previous shows online, and the new ones come first and free and automatically. And if you want to say hi on the socials, just search EV News Daily. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.